was like, I wanted to be a pilot. What's the naughtiest job I can do and get paid for? The whole idea of going on holiday, that magical feeling. So that's been there for me. So it's step by step. So like I said, you started on a small aircraft, twin aircraft, jet orientation, and then you get up to like the jet. For them, it's, oh my God, there's a turbine, a bug coming out of the flight deck. What the flip is going on? So I would fly with 3 kilos or 4 kilos of cooked chicken, 3 kilos of potato, 2 kilos of salmon, 200 grams or 100 grams of peanut butter. And I had that all packed with me with ice packed. So I knew that when I get to the hotel, I have a fridge. And I made it work with cold food. The competing didn't come until 2015, 2016. Pushed me and pushed my limit ridiculously. I've puked a couple of times through training sessions with him because we were pushing that hard. And to be honest with you, I love it. It's the idea of pushing the body, the boundaries, the limit, because it's something you enjoy. Knowing that what I'm putting in, I'm going to get something out of the aspect of competing. So a goal came into plan. And we pulled it off. We made it to the Arnold. The first time a turban stepped on the Arnold stage here. Chak chak ke pleta marniya. And then come home and then chak chak ke pleta Singh marniya.
This. Welcome back to the KultureKast podcast. My guest today is a pilot and a bodybuilder who is recently the only man to wear a turban on the Arnold stage. Welcome, Rajay Chana. How are you doing, brother?
Thanks. Not bad, man. How are you? Thanks for having me on board. I really appreciate you taking the time to invite someone that's not very important or has a lot to give on your podcast, because this is a platform for a lot of people to learn from. So I appreciate you thinking that I have something to offer. It means a lot, man.
Oh, we're being humble out of the gate, are we?
No. Being truthful out of the gate, Giza.
Yeah. Okay, well, you're a pilot and you're a bodybuilder who's competed at a very high level. So you've obviously got something to give. So let's not beat around the bush. But what we will do before we get into both of them topics is talk about baby Rajay. What were you like as a kid? What was your upbringing like? How was your cultural background? All of that jazz.
Fat kid. Let's just start there. I'm joking. Yeah, I did grow up as a fatty. I've been a fat kid, so I've had a yo-yoing with food from the offset. Yeah, born and raised London, West London, Ealing, and when I was 10, family immigrated to Canada for a year. Parents didn't like it because my chacha's out there, my pua, and a lot of my dad's side of the family are out in Canada, and changing lifestyle and stuff didn't really work out for my parents. My brother and I were too young at the time. So my younger brother, he's 3.5, 4 years younger than me. So we came back and then continued life here. But it was a good experience. I still remember parts of it. Still remember parts of being in school and the whole idea of not wearing a uniform in school. At first you think, oh, that's just cool. I can wear shorts and t-shirt or whatever going into school. But that's just part of the culture that's there. Came back, still in West London. Been here pretty much my whole life. Went to high school. I did my GCSEs, A-levels here at a local high school. And I went to university, did aerospace. We're moving on to my future career, back to being young. Yeah, so culturally, very, I was born and raised as a vegetarian, family-wise as well. What else do I say? Very connected with family back in India, Canada, some people from obviously East Africa as well, but very family-orientated. I think that's pretty much I could say me as a youngster, and still am to some degree.
Yeah, well, West London's quite a diverse place as well, and it sounds like obviously you've got family all over the place and staying connected with them, you end up adopting a lot of cultures, I assume, not just like your own as like coming from a Sikh background in Punjab, but also obviously the Canadian aspect, obviously the cultures around you in West London. Do you think that sort of broadens your mind when you were a kid?
I think it's very, very good. We were lucky that we were around up there, so there was that strong connection with being Sikh or Indian. But yeah, I was fortunate that I was mixed, growing up with mixed race kids. I was very close to, it was like a brother to me and a sister. So they're half Jamaican, half Welsh. And they were born next door and raised, younger brothers. He's one of them, my sister, I can say sister because I was raised with her. She's into like IT, she does modeling as well. My brother, Chris, he's a fireman. So we were raised together. So there was that cultural mix. There was a Jamaican father. So I was the oldest at the time. So their dad would take me along on the truck rides and stuff. So there was that whole combination of having not just the Indian aspect, but having other cultures there. But it is nice to be, I'll be honest with you, it was very nice to be in that diverse environment because I never looked at anyone differently based on color, caste or creed. And the reason I bring that up is because I can give you a prime example of that. I was living in Las Palmas, Canary Islands when I was flying. Being a pagwala on an aircraft, I came out of the flight deck to go to the bathroom. And there was two ladies sitting in the front row. I watched one of them knock the other one on the shoulder and point.
Oh,
So I just started laughing and I went into the toilet. It's like, because they don't have that cultural understanding. Like for them, it's, oh my God, there's a turban, a bug coming out of the flight deck. What the flip is going on? But it's just that lack of diversity, that lack of understanding. Because obviously what the news or social media shows, bugs, terrorists, turbans, doesn't go, obviously uneducated. So that's why I think it's a really, really nice thing that in the area that I'm in, I'm probably similar to you as well, being up north, that you've had some level of diversity as well.
100%. A lot of the times it is ignorance. Like sometimes it isn't hatred or anything. It is just the unknown. And obviously education is the way forward from that. Talking about education and sort of pivoting into your pilot career, as sort of mentioned there.
Mm-hmm.
When you want to become a pilot, how early do you have to prepare? Is it something that you have to do? Obviously, your degree would be tailored about it, but do you have to think before that, like A levels or GCSEs here? Or
There's two aspects to this. So for me, I wanted to be a pilot since I was a kid. There's a photo of me somewhere. I need to find it. I've got front teeth missing. I'm on the flight deck, little gutti Ramalon, big cheesy grin, and the captain, the first officer sitting there. So as far back as that, I've been wanting to, that whole idea of going on holiday, that magical feeling. So that's been there for me. In regards to the education aspect, yeah, I went down the engineering route. At the time when I was doing my A levels and stuff like that, I was like, I wanted to be a pilot. What's the naughtiest job I can do and get paid for? Is what I've always said when people ask me. And so that the idea of travel is just a buzz. It's an excitement. I did maths, physics, IT, and Punjabi at A levels. Don't ask me my grades in Punjabi because that was hard. And I went to Brunel University, did aerospace engineering. Basically, it was aviation engineering with pilot studies. So it was the aerospace modules minus one module, and they give you a PPL instead, so you get to fly. And that's what I did. That's what I recommend to everyone that's come to me and messaged me and asked me. I was like, always go to university prior, because it gives you something to fall back on. The aviation industry and the market is so fluid. Anything goes on. Let's go back to 2001, 9/11 happened. The market shut down. There was a very, very big crash at that point in the aviation sector. No one was hiring. Go along 2008, we had the financial crash, and then recently with COVID, and how many pilots have lost their jobs. I've got friends, very good and close friends in places like Qatar, Etihad, Emirates, guys in the Far East. And the market's been quite a bad place. I was out of a job, like I said, since the 14th of March. That was the last time I flew back from Boston. So I recommend going down that route. You don't have to necessarily have a degree in engineering or down the engineering route. You can, but you've got to remember that it's financially very, very expensive to get into aviation, and it's not what it used to be. You're not being paid. You don't have the sort of the benefits that you once did. So the guys that I speak to, or the elders that have taught me, and the older captains that I've known, ex-BA guys, ex-TUI, ex-Virgin and stuff like that, they what benefits and things that they were given, I'm not getting, or I wasn't getting as such. But I always do recommend going down the route of going to university or getting higher education, because one, you've got something to fall back on, and two, you can always decide to change. Because there's people that I know that went to flight school with me that didn't continue their flying careers. And at the time when I went through flight school, it was £90,000 for 2 years, full time.
Yeah.
That's just flight training to get a CPLIR. So I always recommend that. I was fortunate enough that I had my parents to back me, and I owe all this to my mum and dad. I mean, the sacrifices that they've done for me to be where I am today, even with the current climate. I mean, like, I'm living at home. I have been. For me, family is the most important thing. Like, there's no love bigger than that. You've got a unit and unity and someone standing behind you. You can't break this. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You stand like this, you can break. But this, when you've got Karta, bro, there's nothing like it. Like, anything's achievable, especially when there's unconditional love and it's truth. As long as it's like such a. So for me, I would say to others, always go for higher education and then go into flight training. If you know it's something you want to do, still get a degree, because I think going to university, I did 3 years. It helps you grow as a person.
Yeah,
and that's very important. So I know guys that I studied with, or who are flying, and friends that came from financial backgrounds, business backgrounds, doing random other jobs, and they've come into it and they love it. So it's not going to be like, oh, I spent 3 years, I can't do anything else. You can. Just know it's going to cost, and it's going to be a lot of time and a lot of sacrifice, and you can get into it. The market is going to grow. There is signs and indications showing, like, for example, 1st of November, I think it was the correct date, where the US has opened up their borders to fully vaccinated people. that's a whole nother story about vaccinations and stuff, which we don't need to get
Yeah,
into.
let's not touch on that.
But there is that whole idea of things are starting to move. We've got friends, Emirates is saying that they're looking hiring. A few other low-cost airlines are hiring. I've just got information that's come through on different WhatsApp groups and stuff like that with other pilots. So it's looking positive, should we say, for the world. That motion is coming back, because we all need to travel. We all have family. We all would like to go on holiday and not be so stagnant anymore. No?
100%, and it is one of the industries that obviously suffered probably more than any other. And the hospitality as well. Obviously,
some people probably know my brother's an ex-Bhangra dancer, door player, so he's been in that sort of wedding scene. And the guys from Drumline, like Jazz, we're very close with, literally like family. The DJs, Deadly Motion Music, those boys, the Enigma boys, they're all really close, all good people. That industry's been shot really hard as well, unfortunately. And a lot of them had to shut up shop. The industry is picking back up on that side as well. So it's not just aviation. I mean, even locally, a lot of people have had to change careers. And some people that I was doing Amazon driving for a little while, a lot of people went into doing delivery driving, truck driving, Tesco's, stacking shelves, just a time pass, I know.
Yeah. 100%. Well, I think it was that freak thing that just nobody's ever seen before. And obviously you mentioned the other circumstances of like market crashes and people being a bit scared after 9/11. But this one was more like nobody's allowed to go on a plane anywhere. Sort of thing.
Global shutdown, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So
global shutdown.
It's a full different scale. But as you say, it is starting to open back up. I've seen that a few people are going on holiday. A lot of people went to Dubai early on and things. But again, we'll not talk about that one either. All these influencers getting away with murder. So when you finished uni, you've done your aerospace engineering degree. You mentioned flight school there. So that's an additional 2 years post-grad.
Yes. So I was, this is where I always get my dates wrong. 2009 to 2012, I was at uni. I went to Brunel. In 2012, I finished in July, and then in November 2012 is when I started flight training. I was there for 2 years. So I was at CAE Oxford. So 6 months ground school, 6 months in Arizona, and then back for another, so it was like 10 months for a bit more flight training, ground school, sims and all kinds of other stuff. So it was practically 2 years. And then out of that, and then straight out of the gate, 2 weeks after I finished, graduated, got an interview, got my first job. So I was one of the lucky ones. It was really quick. Out of that first job into my second job, it was all transitioning very, very quickly.
I've heard a lot of people go, like pilots go to Arizona for training. Is it something special about specifically Arizona?
It's just different schools. So we've got like some of the main schools. We've got FT Jerez, I think it's still around. CTC, which is in Southampton, and they send their guys to New Zealand. It's because of cost of fuel and hours of daylight as such, and it's cheaper out there. So the schools use, they have their subsidiary schools or airfields that they use. And so being at Oxford, they send their guys to Arizona, which was quite cool.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. So during them 2 years, obviously you'll be doing exams and things. But when you're saying you're getting practice, I imagine there's like flight simulators first before you're allowed to go in the air, or is it just straight into the air?
No. So how that works is, so like I did my PPL at university. So we was like a Cessna small, those light aircraft that you'll probably see in the sky now and again driving around, 2-seater things. You start your training on that with an instructor, and you build yourself. It's like lessons. So there's ground school. So you're in the classroom, you're understanding the basics, the principles of flight systems, understanding what to do. And then it's the basic step by step that they take you through. It's not cheap. It does add up quick. So yeah, it's like a step by step. It's baby steps into school and then advancing. So you're constantly studying, you're constantly getting the theoretical knowledge and then applying it practically. And then that's how it sort of builds. And then when I went to Oxford, did my flight training, it was the same thing, light aircraft, we're building your way up through the hours, coming up to your exam, changing from a single engine piston 4-seater to a 6-seater, 8-seater twin engine aircraft. Right. You do the CPL on that. And that's over like the period of 6 months, and you come back here and then you have your simulator stuff where they use simulators, like small stationary static simulators, not full motion that you've probably seen, those big 70-80 million pound boxes, the stress boxes that we call them, sorry. So we do that to understand like instrument ratings, so flying, because obviously when you're in the clouds at 30,000 feet, you're not going to be looking down, oh look, there's the M25, there's Heathrow. It's not like this. Flying with instruments and flying with systems on board like that. So it's just progressive training. You finish that, you do your instrument rating, that gives you a frozen ATPL, air transport pilot's license. And then there's two versions. There's the airplane and there's helicopter. So there's two different styles of training. And then you do something called an MCC and a jet orientation training, or jet orientation course, and then a multi-crew course as well. So when you're flying passenger jets or jetliners, it's two crew operation. They don't fly them like fast jets or these small aircraft. It's two crew operation. So you're becoming or learning the ideas of synergy on a flight deck, because it's two brains working. Again, you can't be flying a 50-ton or a 250-ton or a 450-ton aircraft with 400 passengers on board or whatever. I used to fly 360 souls on board by yourself. And I guess you have to, we're trained to, if like, for example, one of us was to fall ill or something unforeseen could happen, but it's the training. So it's step by step. So like I said, you started on a small aircraft, twin aircraft, jet orientation, then you get up to like the jets and stuff.
Right, okay. So sort of like driving a small car to a Jeep to a minivan to a van to a truck, and then obviously you can specialize if you want to do commercial or helicopter or jets and things like that.
Yeah, it comes under the two banners. So it's either you have your air transport pilot license H, helicopter, air transport pilot license A, airplane, and then you can take it into. So there's no difference between flying. So I'm now flying for DHL. I got a job last week. Last week on my birthday. So I'll be flying. It's the same thing. It's still commercial. Instead of flying passengers, I'm now flying dabbe.
Yeah.
So it's no longer, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board. This is your first off with Raj speaking, blah, 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 all that. No. Dabbe on board, close the door, chat to me. Slightly different, but it's the same principle. You take off from a runway, you get into another runway. It's commercial, it's paid flying for an operation.
Congratulations, by the way, for that as well. Yeah, because as we said, it's a tough time at the moment. So 100% congratulations. How does that actually work though? Because if you're above the clouds, obviously, as you said, you can't recognize anything. What are the instruments? Do you know? Like, is it sat nav? Like, how does that work?
That's the basic principle. Is that we've got sat nav on board. It works with GPS. It works with maps loaded on board. Right. Real-time positioning. It's the same sort of idea. The concept of you load a route. Like, for example, when you go into Waze or Google Maps or whatever, and you type, I'm going Musty's house today, or I'm going here today, and it programs that route. Same principle. It's preloaded, it's booked, it's scheduled in to work in with the flow of traffic and times and direction of travel, which the companies and systems do.
Right, okay, fair play. So I guess over time that's probably got more and more sophisticated as well. Or...
Of course, of course that. Like I said,
yeah, sorry, go on.
I was just saying, I'm just a basic button presser, bus driver. They all do all the smart, hard stuff, dude.
No, but obviously it takes a lot to get there. You sort of mentioned earlier on about the coming out of the cockpit and then two ladies sort of like indicating, oh, there's a pilot with a turban on. Yeah, exactly. Like, and obviously we mentioned before about 9/11 and it sort of having an impact on travel in general and people being scared of like the turban from what media has shown, and it's obviously not got the seek representation in wider media. Is that something that is apparent in travel or in the airline industry? Is there any? No, I can't say overt because I obviously it won't be able to be like open discrimination, but like talk me through that essentially.
There has been. It's not as much as such where you've flown with people from all around the world. Some people are just curious and they've never met someone like me or a Sikh, or they want to understand. There's other people that know about it. At my ex-airline, I flew with one of the guys and he made a reference about my bug. I could just, when you meet in the crew room and then you brief the flight and you talk about what's going on, passenger loads, fuel, routing, crew members, all the information, you brief it so that you're on the same page. You've synced with the other person, that we've got a profile in our heads, we've got a plan of action, what we're going to do, where we're going, and all the rest of it. And you could just tell with his energy and everything. You just pick up on it. I mean, bro, I've been traveling the world. I've lived in London. I've seen how you kind of know how to sort of profile and read people. And it was just some references he made, and it was. This is where the aspect of being professional plays a part. Like, don't get me wrong, I could go down the route of punching this guy's lights out. Not something I was going to do, but there is the option of doing that. Not saying that I would ever do that, no. But he's like, your people, in reference to conversations, those things, they stick with you. And then he goes, and then he's the other thing he said was that towel around your head. So instead of having a fun flight for 9 hours or wherever we were going at the time, it was just very professional, stuck to the standard operating procedures, did my position and my still my roles. But that sort of scars you. You carry that. I mean, I didn't act upon it. I did let management know, but that's very few and far between. I've had other incidents in the past when I was in training, but you just you get over it. Being exposed to it from a young age. I mean, it's not always been hunky dory growing up. You've had it in. I'm sure if you speak to other Singhs, we're still getting it today, where of some kids are getting ripped off. And you've seen it on social media, and it's not ideal. It's not nice because it causes a lot of damage to individuals and to families. So I've seen it growing up. I've had fights because of my gutti at the time, obviously when we were a little Ramal and that. But yeah, so there is very small aspects of it, and there is, I think, pretty much in every industry. So I speak to people that work in London, the city, they still get it, but it's reducing, and that's a nice thing to know.
Yeah,
I don't think you'll ever die. There's always going to be one or two. How can I put this politely? Silly people, but they're far less than what it once was. And exposure to the bug, like there's someone that you probably know. There's a senior first officer at Virgin, just Jaspal Singh, who works very closely with Carl Said. And so when Carl Said were flying out, Virgin gave their aircraft. Yeah, they gave their aircraft free of charge to Carl Said to load cargo and supply emergency supplies to send over. So that's a positive light. Carl Said, coming from a Sikh background, seeing a Sikh pilot and seeing they're doing something positive for the world. So things like that are very, 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 very good. Another thing, when I was living in Arizona, I was very, very fortunate. I don't know if you remember, I've forgotten his first name, but Mr. Soddi that was murdered after 2001 in New York because of the 9/11 attack. So his brother lives in Arizona, and I got in touch with them and I asked, where's the nearest Gurdwara? And they came and picked me up from my apartment. And so I was quite fortunate in that aspect that I got to go to the Gurdwara there and see the Sangat that side of town, because obviously being away from home is still part of who we are. And he, after losing his brother, has been working really hard around America, doing talks and seminars, providing education to say, hey, we're not what you think we are. This is what we are. This is where we come from. And so there's positive from a negative there. So he's going around teaching people about Sikhi, not necessarily trying to tell anyone to convert that this is the ultimate religion. And I think they're just the education to say, hey, we are Sikh. This is what we believe. This is where we're from. This is who we are, rather than it being, hey, Turban Taliban, like it was when his brother was murdered. So there is positives that do come from it, and it's going in the right direction.
100%. Like, and that's incredible, obviously turning that negative into a positive. I didn't know about that, but you do see, like, obviously the videos of, I think even Richard Branson reposted that himself, because obviously it was Virgin and sending the oxygen tankers to India, and then you've got Jigmeet in Canada, and there's the videos of him when
NDP,
yeah
that
exactly.
lady that was in his face, we love you
yeah like all them videos obviously do go in our favor.
Massive impact, huh?
Because they all go viral. When they go viral, then it's a person who isn't aware and can learn about it. And it's like that thing that was said before. It's like some people aren't doing it off a place from hatred, but it is from ignorance. And this is a conversation from many of the guests that I've spoken to, because it is a common theme that obviously we receive as kids and things. And I think most people are on the same consensus of it won't ever go away, but it is reducing. The example that I like to use is that now racism is more tied to financial income. So that's a big thing that obviously reduces it. Like we've seen a few times where people have had private Snapchats that go onto, say, Twitter or Instagram, go a bit viral. And it's the office worker that you probably said hi to, and he's got a nice smile to your face. And then in the evening, he's going packy this or whatever that goes viral, loses his job the next day. You know what I mean? So them things obviously will also help make it a lot less public, but we're tribal people as human beings, and you will get the people who will not like outsiders, and that's just always going to happen. But I thought I would ask just for travel, airline industry specifically, because of 9/11, because of obviously that having a big impact, and we said the Taliban jokes before. The whole Taliban thing was in the news a couple of months ago as well, and then reoccupying Afghanistan, and you could see it starting to creep back up about towel head, Taliban, turban, this, and that miscommunication that happens in the media. So it's a very weird predicament that we found, because it is something that is inherently linked to our religion, because it is part of it, but then obviously it's a cultural thing as well. So it's like we have the religious turban on one side, but we have the cultural turban on the other side, which is literally anywhere who has heat or where it is protection, essentially. So it's like, how do you distinguish the two? It's a hard one. But we'll get out of the doom and gloom and we'll turn to a more positive thing. Have you said there the travel aspect is probably your favorite thing? Is that, would you say, like, where's the best places in the world that, coming from a pilot who's traveled everywhere, where would you recommend people to go?
That's very specific to people. Now, me, I like both aspects of city life and being out on the sea or the beach or jungle or something like that. So I've been very fortunate. I've traveled quite a lot, not necessarily as much as some people that I know who can boast about it, but like New York is one of my favorite cities. I absolutely love flying to New York. It's not that far. It's a wicked life. The lifestyle, the energy, the vibe, it's out of this world. The other aspect I like LA simply because Los Angeles, you've got the beach, you've got Gold's Gym, Venice Beach, home of bodybuilding and all the rest of it. So that's just one aspect of it. I've flown down to Rio, so I've traveled there, been to Buenos Aires in Argentina. I've still got the rest of the South Americas to do. I've been to the Far East. I know China's off limits at the moment, but when I was at university, I raised some money for a charity, Child Reach International, to help. And they do projects around the world for schooling, food, stuff in India, Africa, and other parts of the world that are less fortunate. And so I raised, with the help of my family, we did a charity raised like £2,500–3,000 for it. So I walked to parts of the Great Wall of China. It's not one wall, by the way, like I thought it was. It's actually like there's 9 walls.
Right.
Yeah, and they've only sort of renewed and rebuilt some of them. Some of them are still old and battled and tatty and stuff, but it was nice to see that. So I'd say China, when it's open, is something to go see. The Far East. I'd like to go. Where else? I'm yet to go to sort of Australia and all the rest of it. That's on the plans.
Japan? Have you been to Japan yet?
No, that's somewhere I really do want to go. So that's on the list. That's somewhere I would really like to go, actually. I haven't been there yet. I'm sure there's plenty of people that have been. I have seen some friends and family and pictures and stuff. People have gone. It's truly a beautiful place. I want to go because I've got Japanese koi, so I'm a ardent koi collector. Hobbies, man, expensive hobbies. So I'd like to go there to see those fish and where they come from, the mud ponds and the breeders and stuff, just to learn. I think that'd be quite cool to see. You wouldn't expect a Singh in it to be into fish and stuff.
I was going to say that as very unexpected.
Oh yeah, I'm a bit of a weird character. Yeah, big lover of animals, man.
100%. Japan's up there for me. Japan's, if I could go anywhere, it would be number 1, Japan. Number 2 would be Rio, which you mentioned there. What was that like for you?
I was sick, unfortunately, on that trip.
Oh, no.
I woke up, went for breakfast, and I just about made it to the bathroom to take my insides out. Funny enough, for 2 days, I did go out and stuff, but I didn't, unfortunately, because I wasn't feeling too well, to see. I forgot the name of it, but the Jesus Christ statue. I wanted to see that play. I forgot the name of it.
Christ the Redeemer.
But yeah, Christ the Redeemer. That's it. So yeah, I will go back. But that's cool. Where else would you want to go?
I think they're top 2 for me. I'm not really. I'm more of like a city guy myself, so I'd prefer like to actually do activities. I'm not like one of these guys who could probably sit on a beach. I went to Rome and Budapest. Rome and Budapest were both good. I'd probably like to go China as well. New York. I don't know, Vancouver probably. I've got family there. Yeah.
Make sure you go. Make sure you go. Vancouver's wicked. I went there a couple of years ago with a couple of friends to ski for the first time. That was a wicked trip. So I'd recommend going. Whistler is a cool place to go in the winter.
Yeah.
Get your snowboarding and your skiing on. And generally, that is a really, really beautiful place to be, man. Canada's quite pretty.
100%. I've got a lot of family scattered around Canada. I've just never been myself, so I do definitely need to take a trip out.
Yeah, do it, man. Hit up the West Coast if you can. If you are going to go, try do. So I flew into Seattle, hired a car, and I drove up to Vancouver to see my masi, my nanny. So my mum's masi. She's the last. I posted a picture of her recently. She's the last grandma nanny alive of that generation. So she still lives in Vancouver with that family. So I'll go to see them. So I did a little trip, flew in, grabbed a car, went down, still found a gym there, met some people, made some friends, which was good. But Vancouver, definitely, I really recommend that. Hit Seattle and go down. And you could do Vegas and then Los Angeles down to San Diego.
All that West Coast. That does sound sick, to be fair.
Hit it, definitely.
You spoke about, obviously, the gym there. You always got to find a gym. The the time constraints of being a pilot. So that is obviously like you're flying, you're all over the world, and somehow you'll always find a gym. Like everybody I think struggles with work-life balance and fitness and work balance sort of thing, but it's probably heightened being a pilot, no?
Yeah. Well, let's try and word this in the best way, and so we can cover everything. It's perfect to find a balance. So I recommend it to everyone. Social media, the news, TV is all programming. So the McDonald's, everybody knows the McDonald's tune, don't they? So everyone knows you can get a burger for 99p. Is that necessarily right for you every time? No. So it's about finding that balance and changing certain little aspects of your life to keep that. Your health is really important. So yeah, I'm at the extreme end. I compete in bodybuilding. I haven't been competing that long. I don't know if I will be competing too much longer. It's just something that I've sort of fallen into, and I do enjoy. But I grew up as a fat kid, like I said earlier, fat boy at heart. I'm still a fat boy now. Food, I've got a mad sweet tooth. So for me, it's a hobby that's turned into an important part of my life. I really do enjoy it. Ex-karate. I was going for my black belt at the time. I stopped when I went to university. I did that from the age of 6. So it's been a part of who I am for a very long time. And then you grow up and you're learning about nutrition, diet, and importance of health. So for me, yeah, balancing it with my work, I was able to. So some people, like a good friend of mine who I work with, who helped me get the job here at DHL, he's into fitness as well. He hasn't competed. Very strong fella. He was with me at flight school, so he was my gym partner. Big fella as well, really strong. So when I was flying with Norwegian, I was also getting ready for a competition. So everyone goes down route landing. Yo, guys, we're going to go for food, steak, or we're going to get some burgers or burritos and some beers. I wasn't doing that because I was so at the extreme end. So I would fly with 3 kilos or 4 kilos of cooked chicken, 3 kilos of potato, 2 kilos of salmon, 200 grams or 100 grams of peanut butter, and I'd have my oats. I had that all packed with me with ice packs. So I knew that when I get to the hotel, I have a fridge. And I made it work with cold food, even en route on flights. Yeah, there was times where I'd eat meals on board because I'm craving chocolate or I want something naughty. But it was finding that fine-tuning balance. And I was able to do it with the help of a coach, with the help of Ungud from D's Muscle and Fitness. He's literally like family. He helps dial me in. He helps me in my competitions. He helps program my diet, my training, and he's been there for me. So as I always say, hat off to him. He's someone that's been in my corner and he's held me together and helped me be accountable. So I fly with my food, and I prepped in 2018. No, what were you? 21, 2 years ago. 2019.
19, yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, 2019. It's been 2 years since I last competed. So I was flying around the world. I'd land in New York with my food with me. I knew where the supermarkets were if I needed to pick up some more fresh vegetables, some spinach or whatever else. In the morning breakfast, I'd make work with whatever I could get at the places. And yeah, so I did that while I was doing flying. So it's a matter of if you want it bad enough, if it's important to you. I mean, that's the extreme end. I mean, you can still have a healthy lifestyle in fitness and fly. You don't necessarily have to fly with the food pre-cooked. You can use meals on board. It's like macro counting. You can use apps out there like MyFitnessPal, for example, knowing, okay, I'm going to have 3 eggs for breakfast, 2 toast. You can program it in saying, okay, I know my maintenance calories, or I require 210 grams of protein per day based on my body weight. And just trying to make it work with that. And then the idea is to have balance. So anyone that's come to me for help or advice, or I've helped put diet plans together, or just ideas, or just anything, I always say, find that balance. What is it that you're trying to achieve? Oh, I want to do this, A, B, C. I want to get X, Y, Z. Fine. All right. So what do you need? What's your short-term goals and long-term goals? What we can do is we'll make a small plan, find out what your baseline is, and then we can adjust. And it's always about finding the adjustments. You can't be stuck in a box. You've got to know that life and lifestyle is always fluid. For example, I need to be at an office appointment at 9 o'clock in the morning. You might get a flat tire on the way. You've got to be dynamic. You've got to deal with situations as they occur. So, okay, I've got to be at work today. I didn't have time to prep my meals. Okay, I know I can go to Sainsbury's or Marks and Spencer's. That's 5-minute walk from my workplace. I can pick up a salad and I can pick up a wrap, chicken, and make it work. So there is that fluidity that you can always make around. And again, that comes down to anyone that's asking me for advice that says, oh, hey, Singh, you look sick. I don't always look like that. I'm only posting what I want you to see. I can show you the truth. I've got nothing to hide. Anyone that wants to ask me the truth or want to see something, I can say, look, this is what I look like now. I'm not in stage lean condition. I'm not 5% body fat or 8% body fat or whatever. But it's trying to understand that you have to learn how to balance with what you have in real time. Because life's always going to throw curveballs. Family's always going to throw curveballs. You're always going to get knocked down. It's just how you mitigate and how you manage. And get yourself some help. If you need a coach, get a coach. If you need someone to talk to, if you're dealing with something in your life, don't give up on your goal. Or say, I'm into fitness. Oh, I've had a bad day at work. Fuck it. I'm going to, excuse my language, I'm going to binge eat. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do it. I'm a human being. I'm not going to lie. There's days where I've had things that are going on in my personal life that have caused me to break down. I'm not going to lie about it. I'm human. I cry. I weep. I need to be loved. I need to feel emotionally attached to something. And so I break down and I'll sit down and have a bowl of cereal, 6 biscuits, and then go eat a whole tub of ice cream. And I'm like, why did I just do that? It happens. We're humans, you know?
Now you talk about language.
Let's go.
No, obviously, I think, like, to boil it down, it's sort of, from what I understand, what I took from that is basically just discipline and priority. Like, if you want to achieve something, you have to prioritize that goal. If it does mean to shift around other things that are less important in your life, but maybe, again, a society around us deems more important, then leave them things and focus on yourself and what you need to do. I think the flexibility aspect is super important, because for me, and well, everyone's individual. Do you know what I mean? Everyone is going to like things, and body's going to react different ways. When I first started, it was very much the grilled chicken and rice with no flavoring on it or whatever. It was the basic.
Leave that out.
Yeah, I was like, nah, like, it's not going to happen for me. So then you have to sort of tailor things, and I'm not much of a person for sweets and chocolate. So for me, it was easy to just make up them calories, because I'm not going to have chocolate afterwards. I'm just going to put extra luna masala on the chicken, do you know what I mean? And actually have, like, I'll have tandoori chicken or like something like that instead of having a chocolate afterwards. So like, everyone will have their own preferences, what will work for them better. And I feel like that's very important. And just basic understanding, it doesn't have to be mental, but of how calories and things work. And half of the time an app will tell you that nowadays, like MyFitnessPal. Which is really fascinating. But I'm still picturing in my mind just like the pilot at the front having like chicken and rice in a box or something, or like some.
Bro, it's what you're visualizing is the truth. You can see me. I'm in the right hand seat. I open my dabba, I get my weighing scales out, I put my kolli there, I put my food in, I'm weighing it while we're flying. I'm like, yo, you're in control. Cool, radios are yours. Headphones off, Garnet on, and I'm sitting away munching my salmon or my chicken or whatever else. That was then.
If there's any turbulence, you're fucked, don't it?
Don't worry, you've had plenty of dial stains on that,
man. As you said before, obviously the fat kid growing up, similar to myself, and I've had this conversation with Manj, obviously, is
similar body type. So Manj is a lot taller than me. I'm 5'11", 6'1" with a bug, if you count the joints. Yeah, he's obviously 6'3", 6'4", or whatever he is. But yeah, so his body type, where you look at him growing up in his pictures that he's posted, I've got a similar one for my first transformation on my social media, on my Instagram, for people that want to see it or people that have already seen it. So we've got that same body type. You know, the Michelin tire, the love handles, the Gogger. I've got the same body type as him in that aspect, or had, should we say.
So, and you said you were into karate up until when you went to university. Did you get into lifting and fitness to supplement that, or was it like, I assume you got into karate to counteract the chubby kid, but then did you get into?
It was my parents put us into that. So my brother and I, they said it was good, obviously, for discipline, understanding, health, and it's programmed and helped us in the way that we are now. I think it's very important for children to go into, whether it's ballerina, whether it's swimming, a form of sport as an outlet is very, very important for children growing up, and just as much as education is. So, and after school activities are vital. Obviously nowadays kids want to sit at home. Like when we were growing up, we didn't get our PlayStation 1, I think it was, until we were like 6 or 7, 8, or maybe even older. But we were always out and about. Like, I'm that kid that was in the garden eating mud as a youngster, man. I've heard the stories, licking stones and eating newspaper. It's random, I know. But that was very important, and it's helped us in the way we are. The fat kid was just overeat. Brought in, you know, isn't it? You have to finish your plate. Just that, and then obviously the extra sweets and stuff. And then I went into, as you were saying about the it wasn't to supplement that. It was more so, you know, when you're at that age, 16, 17, 18, oh yeah, I need to get some biceps now. I don't need to be impressive in a t-shirt. So it was just, we started doing that. And then I yo-yoed through university first year, lost a load of weight, got really skinny. And then coursework and exams come in and you balloon back up and then down again. And then finally you balloon back up. But that's when I sort of started getting into lifting and training. And it was that, at that element, it was just lift as heavy as possible, train as hard as possible, and eat whatever. So we'd smash the gym like gorillas, quite literally. Chak chak ke pleta marniya, and then come home and then chak chak ke pleta Singh marniya, six rotiyan at a time. So that's where it started up for me, and then just learning about diet and lifestyle. So it was a journey and an education as such.
It sounds quite similar to a lot of people, to be fair, is when you do get to that age of like sort of pre-uni, going into uni, I feel like that is when a lot of people adopt the gym. It was similar for myself because I was quite a late bloomer. So I think I ended up having my growth spurt at 18, 19. And you remember like the like mums and dads would always say, oh, don't lift heavy weights before you growth spurt, otherwise you'll stay small and all these things. So after that point is when I got into the gym. And obviously through uni, you get a bit preoccupied. When is the point where you started taking it a bit more seriously and the thoughts of competing started to come into your mind?
Okay, seriousness happened sort of as I was finishing up. So I started getting training, started getting very serious. I was doing 5-mile walks a day, sort of through second and third year uni, and I continued it. Through flight training as well, it was very consistent. Training was always there. The competing didn't come until 2015, 2016. I was starting my first prep in 2016, and the day I started my prep, I broke my finger. So you can see this finger slightly bent in comparison to this one. I had to have surgery. My brother, it was our first set, so he's done his first warm-up. We're doing chest, day one, new plan, wicked. I'm getting ready to compete. He puts the dumbbell down on the floor. I go up for my first set, warm up. I come down with, it was a 26 kilo or 30 kilo dumbbell, and I just drop it, but my hand stays in there. So I snap the flanix. Yeah, I slapped the flanix off the front of my finger. So unfortunately, this finger is slightly odd shape. Not everyone knows. So that took me out from my 2016 prep until this was repaired. And then my first competition I did in 2017. And it was the reason why, it was the guys that I started training with. So there was a very, very good friend of mine. They call him the Buffalo Soldier, Kevin Howell, Grenadian guy, built like a brick house. He was the strongest guy in the gym where I used to train. And he's like, Raj, come. Because he saw how I was training. It was grunting, it was heavy. And he took me under his wing just to teach me, because he'd been competing for a while. And being as strong as he was, it pushed me and pushed my limits ridiculously. There's not a lot of people that wanted to train with him or could go. I've puked a couple of times through training sessions with him because we were pushing that hard. And to be honest with you, I love it. It's the idea of pushing the body, the boundaries, the limits, because it's something you enjoy. The outcome, knowing that what I'm putting in, I'm going to get something out of this. It was beyond anything I'd ever seen, because the diet was coming into play, the aspect of competing, so a goal came into plan. So that's where it's sort of the competition or the competing aspect came in. I really fine-tuned and channeled that controlled strength, dieting, and balanced it all in. And I was flying at the time, funny enough. I was in my first job. I was at Ryanair when I first started flying. And so I was living at home. I did, like I said, Las Palmas, that story where I was saying, when the two ladies. So I went to the Canary Islands for about 5 months. And I was on a plane 7 days a week, man. I was 5 days out there flying. Day 6, I'd fly home. 2 days at home. Day 1, I'd fly back. Spend a week there, had a gym there. Yeah, so I made it work. And then I'd run to the supermarket on day 1, pick up lettuce, bags of lettuce, salad boxes, and some cooked chicken or something, and just made it work that way. And chocolate, of course. There was always something, a little bit of silliness here and there. But that comes down to that sort of idea of balance, knowing that if it's something you enjoy, have it in moderation, have it in control, knowing where to put it and how to utilize it so that you feel satisfied, but you're not going all out like me, where I can sit down and have 30 biscuits in one sitting.
And the mental aspect as well. So like speaking to a few people who are involved in lifting and bodybuilding, like the mental aspect seems like a massive thing, part of it. You have to be some sort of sick and twisted to even get satisfaction of puking during a workout. Do you know what I mean? To even push yourselves to the level. And I've seen some of your training videos. The facial expressions that you fucking have are a madness, fam. It looks like you're getting a bit too much pleasure from certain exercises. You know what I mean?
Yeah, psychotic. No, I'm not that evil. I'm not that bad. No, it's just yeah, obviously you don't feel good at the time when you've got 200 kilos on your back and you're squatting like an idiot. But it's the feeling afterwards, because there's a goal. You know that you're going to get achievement. At the time of puking, I'm like, bro, I'm going to die. I can't do this anymore. But afterwards, you're like, you know, I pushed it. It's just it's a normal sort of body reaction when you're pushing the limits. It's not necessarily that you're finding pleasure in it. But yeah, the videos are there. It's just the motivation side of stuff we do. Like, I'm very lucky and very fortunate. I know people like Harry Hughes, literally like a brother to me. Like I said, Angad, Randeep Lote, who's a PCA pro. People have seen pictures of him. They've on social media. They've compared his back to people like Ronnie Coleman. Like, his back is nuts. He recently got married, so congratulations to Big Baji there. Ricky, some of the other boys up in the Midlands. There's loads of boys down here that I train with, and it's just that whole idea behind it. It's something that you enjoy, you know. I don't know where I was going with that. I was just gone blank. You was going to say something. I forgot.
I was going to say that sort of sick mentality behind it. So what sparked the decision to get there? So obviously you said when you got into training, it was with the gentleman at the gym who obviously you trained really hard with. But even before then, what sort of is that mentality switch that wants you to compete? Because like you were saying, you were going hard in the gym, as like many people do, but not many people will be, like you said, you will train hard and then eat hard. But nobody's like few people are prepared to train hard and then restrict the calories.
See, I up until I didn't start training with Kevin in the gym, it was train hard, eat hard, and it was the idea of the pleasure or the satisfaction came from lifting weight. So the whole idea, I was stuck for years. I used to train with guys at David Lloyd, one of my good friends, Gurpreet, call him Karku. A lot of people know him. He's a good friend of mine, literally like a brother. I say a brother for a lot of people because there's a lot of love. So he was my training partner. I'm not joking, for I think 18 months I was stuck at 180 kilos, 4 plates on a deadlift. Not a lot of weight, but for me, it was like, yeah, I just done 12 reps, 3 sets at 180 kilos. As soon as you put another kilo, literally 1 kilo, I couldn't lift it off the floor. It's weird. So it was that satisfaction of building numbers, the whole idea. I was very weak on upper body. Still am. I'm weak compared to a lot of people. I've got nothing to show for it. It was progression that was the satisfaction, the buzz. Going in the gym, yo, it's chest day today, or yo, we're doing the 5x5 German volume training GVT, and it was pushing the boundaries, it was pushing the limits. So pre-workout going, kind of itching, music's blasting, Bhangra's on. It's like, Jack, come on, we got this. And there's that grunting, that force, that sort of alpha mentality. And then it was when I came and started training under the people that already competed. It was that controlled strength, aggression, and focusing it with an understanding of, it's not just about lifting weight. Let's lift with a purpose now, because we're trying to carve and build tissue. Because bodybuilding is not strength. This is what people need to fine tune and understand. There is power lifters. There's people like Indaraj, really, really strong Singh, really strong. Yeah, it's awesome to see him. I message him here and there. He's a top Singh, and he's doing really well. There's Karanjit Bains. She's doing a lot for the Olympics as well, and Team GB and stuff. But their style of training is different. It's numbers. It's chasing a figure. And then for bodybuilding, it is about not necessarily who can lift the biggest dumbbells and the 75s. Obviously, you work your way up to build and lift heavy, because you're building tissue. You're breaking down fibers to build more, put more protein in, and supplement it into growth. But it was that idea of, okay, now we're not here to lift and break the gym in half, flip and throw weights through the kanda. It's more, okay, let's carve the muscle. Let's reduce the weight. Let's add reps. Let's do cluster sets, drop sets. Let's fatigue the muscle. Let's do incline bench, because your upper chest is weak. Your bottom chest is good. So we'll leave the dips out. Let's do flies at higher angle, because we're trying to carve the muscle, because you've got a weakness. Bodybuilding is an art form.
100%. And I said it a few times, obviously speaking to some of the previous ones, that Ronnie Coleman is obviously one of the biggest and best in the sport. And there's always something, I think he did an interview, I can't remember who it was with. It might have been on Rogan or something like that, but he used to take a picture of himself every single day, and you get like a permanent marker, like a red marker and he would draw where he would want his muscles to grow, or like where this part's too big, so I need to get leaner here. This shoulder's small, so you like round the shoulder a bit more, and it is perfect. It's literally like sculpting your body, and that is an art form. If you went to like Florence and went to see David in the museum in Florence, you would look at that and you would think that's beautiful. It's art, but that sculpture was done by a person that like, and that's what bodybuilders do to themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
you're building and carving, and that's what you respect.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And it's a grind, because I think the biggest thing with that is when you see yourself in the morning, and you will have one of them sessions where you will be puking, or you're almost fainting and you're lightheaded and shit. You come back in the evening, you look exactly the same. It's not going to happen in one day.
Yeah,
and most people
is
when that's like the thing where most people give up, is because it takes a while. It takes weeks. It takes months.
This is that whole idea of having balance and lifestyle. You know what I was saying just a little while ago? It's about finding that fine-tuning balance. You know you're going to have bad days and good days. It's about the overall progression. So you know, short-term goal this week, no chocolate, or this week I'm going to go to the gym 5 days, or this week I'm not going to do this, or I'm going to do that. But my long-term goal is to drop 3 waist sizes, or put on 2 kilos of muscle, or have an inch on my bicep, or do a muscle up, or I want to be able to bench 100 kilos or something. So you've got your long-term goal. Yeah. You're not going to go from benching 60 kilos to 100 kilos in one chest session. When you go in 3 hours, 2 pre-workouts, a coffee, you eat a sandwich, you go in there, chuck. No, it don't work that way. It is that consistent, disciplined growth. You trust me, bro. The amount of times I've thought that. Bicep cut, let the bama be into the doesn't work. But if you enjoy it, it's just enjoying the journey. The getting on stage, or the getting the 20-inch bicep, or that small waist and that hourglass figure is the goal. Even I struggle with this. Sometimes I forget, enjoy the journey. You're getting the privilege of doing an hour of cardio, or you're having the privilege of controlling your diet and your macros, because you know the outcomes. Enjoy the journey. If you need help, if I can help in any way, shape, or form, people, you know where I am. If I can help you in any way, I will, I promise. I swear I will help. If I can't help, I'll put you in connection with people that I think can help you. Like I've got people behind me, nutritionists, dietitians, other doctors that I know and speak to. If there's people that can help with mental aspects, if there's people that can help with your career, whatever it is, give me a shout. I promise, whatever I can do to help, I will. But it's just try and enjoy your journeys, whatever your goal is. If it's fitness, obviously we're talking about being Indian pilot because that's what I'm doing, and fitness. But if there's any other aspect, if you want to be the best writer in the world, if you want to be the fastest swimmer in the world, whatever you're trying to achieve, if there's anything I can do to help you, give me a shout. I promise I'll do my best to help. If it's flooring that you need, if it's construction that you need, we have contacts. Give Rosewood Group a shout. There's people that we work with are really good, and there's honest people out there. So shout out to all of those people.
If you want to start a koi fish collection.
Yeah, if you want to get some Japanese koi, you want to get into that, give me a shout. We can start talking about different types of koi, breedings, males, females, and all the rest of it. If you want to get into dogs, give me a shout.
No, that is sick, to be fair, because I think that is sort of where a lot of people struggle. I was fortunate that one of my mates was already in the gym, had already begun his learning process, and basically took me under his wing. We'll cut that part out as well.
You ain't cutting that out. There's no way you're cutting that out.
But we yeah, so he sort of took me under his wing and got a lot of learning and from the correct sources. So he's like, do obviously your own education, but here's some websites and here's some reliable forums and things, rather than the diet pill that's on Instagram or whatever, which I feel like a lot of people do fall into them trappings. But yeah, when you can reach out to figureheads in community who, I always say it's more achievable when somebody looks like you and has achieved it, because there are certain cultural things, like if obviously you want to go on a diet plan that doesn't incorporate roti on a weekend or an evening.
Works. Of course it works.
It works.
Of course you can implement anything in a diet. Don't be jealous of somebody else's journey. Something I read or something I saw a while ago, and it's true. It's rather than, look at him, he's lucky. Look at her, she's lucky, she's got it. You should be asking yourself, how did you do it, so that you can do it too, if that's something that you want.
100%.
It's finding the people with that right energy around you, man. Energy is everything.
As we see, so let's get on to your training, because as I said before, the videos are a madness. Like you look like you got some fucking demon trying to crawl out your eyes or some shit.
Oh, the eyes rolling back.
Like you're Undertaker or something like that. So obviously the intensity you've said has always been there. And again, there's something else that I heard recently was the gardener and no, a warrior in a garden sort of thing. Have you heard that before? Is then like you would
be a warrior, be a warrior in a garden rather than a gardener in a war.
Exactly. So is it like controlled aggression? Is it just getting your intensity and the aggression out there, but then controlling it in this way? And how do you maintain that intensity?
Yes, it's finding that balance. Now, I'm going to be honest. You're saying that these videos are a madness and there's a hype behind them. Yeah, don't get me wrong. There is. I'm actually happy when I look like that. I'm not going to lie to you. I can't train with a broken heart. I can't train when I'm hurting. A lot of people can use anger, upset, and aggression to go into the gym. I'm not one of those people. I cannot lift upset. If I'm going through pain or something, I'm not that bunda. I promise. I'm a broken soul. I wear my heart on my sleeve. A lot of people that do know me on a personal level know that, yeah, if he's broken, if he's hurting, he's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I always say to anyone, if you're hurting or something's upsetting you, just talk about it. Find someone that can help you. There's always a way out. There is always, I swear to you, a way out. Everything is fixable. Energy is everything. I'm say I'm religious, or I believe in a higher power. I believe in Maharaj. Whichever way you want to take it, there is always a way to fix stuff. So if, like what I'm saying, yes, I'm in controlled aggression. It's still your MF set, with CT Fletcher. That's a lot of. I think he's got like 10 million views on it. I think 8 million of those views is me. I had that one video. That one video was on repeat for many years on the big lift sets, and you go in, you grunt, you're hyping up, but it's a real sense of satisfaction working. You do something with repetition. So when you're revising, you do exam questions over and over again to learn. The same thing comes in training. You've got to do something with repetition, and it takes time to carve, to build, to, like I'm saying, you want to do a muscle up, or you want to build some strength. You want to go from 100 kilos to 200 kilos or 300 kilos, like Indiraj, and push the limits and boundaries. That takes time, years of practice, and pushing it. But it's having a goal in mind, it's sticking to it, and it's channeling, knowing that you have the ability. There's going to be days, man, don't get me wrong, there's days I go to the gym and 10 kilos feels heavy. It's all again. And there's other days I'll go in there and I'll pick up the 70 kilos and I'm like, dude, I'll give you hell. And it's just that it just comes with the territory. And it's, for me, it's channeling that energy. If I'm in a good place, yeah, you'll see me rolling my eyes back and gritting my teeth and just get this. And it is a sense of satisfaction, I'd say. You hype up, the weights on the bar, it's going to build a muscle, you're going to feel that form, that tightness, you're focusing on a back muscle or a chest or a shoulder or whatever, and it comes down to that. So please, everyone, whoever's watched my stupid videos of me being an idiot, I'm usually that idiot that you'll see walking around making noise and being silly in those funny little clips that are up there with Harry and other people. It's just those controlled aggressions when I'm not angry, I'm not aggressive. It's just, we're just hyping for a set. I'm not the Undertaker. I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm approachable, I promise.
At that moment in time, you don't seem very approachable.
Out of my way.
No, it is sick though, because you do see obviously the motivational videos. Obviously, you said CT Fletcher there. A question that I've asked Harry and Manj: how many times do you watch Pump and Iron?
A couple.
Yeah.
Definitely a couple. Machiavelli motivation. Again, like I'm saying, he was 10 million views, 8 million to me. There's a lot of stuff that you have on repeat. There's a 100%. Lot of videos that you use. When you're deep into a prep and your calories are low and you're tired and you're dragging your feet, it's those things that hype tune. There's little videos of me, like, for example, if I'm in a happy place, I'll take a video selfie with music loud, like I'll sing along to a Bhangra song and I'll send it to people that I've got love for or having a laugh with or something. And then there's times when you're listening to that sort of stuff. The strongest bench presser at the moment, Julian Maddox. He did a video with CT Fletcher at the Iron Wars, for example, and there's a clip in there that gave me goosebumps the first time I heard it. He goes, "I'm gonna show you why I'm a regular. I'm gonna show you," and that's him shouting out. And he did a 675-pound rep bench press raw for a double, no spot, no reps.
Bloody hell.
I'm gonna show you why I'm different. I'm gonna show you why I'm a regular, and he does that. That gave me goosebumps, man. And this shit like that really flipping hits. Those are the things that you use because they're tools. So Pumping Iron, yeah, I've watched a fair few times. Durian Yates clips, the Kai Green videos. Yeah, we go through them all, man. They're on repeat. If you go through my YouTube history, it's just like Machiavelli motivation, Hulk tube motivation, Asadi War, Clifton Sohila, Machiavelli motivation, CT Fletcher.
100%.
And then a
We
bit
come
from
from a good background in terms of like lifting and things as well. Like if some of the art as well, like Indaraj has posted quite a few over the time as well of like Banda Singh Bahadur, but obviously the pictures from back in the day were obviously swollen.
Warrior bloodline, innit? Warrior
exactly.
bloodline, man. Just remember where you come from.
Exactly.
What cloth you cut from.
100%. Talking about obviously these inspirational figures and Pumping Iron and Arnold. Let's transition into the Arnold. See how I did that there?
Hey, quick
Smooth that one.
someone gave him a medal.
So the Arnold was obviously recently, and you did more than one competition this summer, didn't you? Or was...
Yeah, so I did a show. I did the Two Bros Claremont Classic. I was supposed to do the Graftism show here, Maidenhead, which is like not too far. Unfortunately, personal circumstances, there was some stresses going on and some stuff that was causing me a lot of mental dungy. So I struggle with cortisol. So, like I said, when I'm happy, I can lift. It's that sort of happy vibe. It's just a different energy.
Yeah.
So if I've got something on my mind that's hurting me or causing pain, I can't channel it into lifting. Unfortunately, I haven't learned that maybe yet. That's something to learn. So I was unable to get in ready for the Graftism Two Bros Pro Show. And then luckily it was a week later, It was a week or two later, the Claremont Classic. Same Two Bros that was down in Bournemouth. And somehow, some way, we got dialed in. I had the support of my brother, my mum. Luckily, she's got arthritis, bless her. But she helped me. She beated my back while I had to. Obviously, it's something that you have to do. You've got to remove body hair and stuff. So she, even with her busted wrists, she beated my back for me. So we prepped in and I dialed in. Funny enough, something clicked, it worked out. And then I got on stage at the Two Bros, which was 19 days before the Arnolds. I won my category in my class, went into the overalls. The guy that won had like a 10 kilo muscle difference on me. So there's no way you can compete with that sort of level of maturity. He happened to get his pro card about 3 weeks later anyway. So it was good. We did that. And then we went on to I prepped in and dialed in for the Arnolds. Again, there's a lot of stuff going on in personal life. This is where trying to find that balance. You've got to push. You've got to try and manage your cortisol, stress, work life, home life, love life, whatever aspects that you have that are bad or good, you've got to try and balance them. So I tried to, as much as I could this time around, make it happen. We still made it, thanks to God, thanks to the blessings that I have, the people around me that truly care, because that's what it comes down to. And if you're alone, you can fight. I mean, everyone says that idea, the strongest soldiers or the guy that's alone has the strongest wings or whatever those motivational quotes. I can't get the correct terms in my head, but I was very lucky. I had Ungud behind me, Ungud's family. They're like, call them mum and dad. They're like family to me. I had my parents. I had my little brother Kirpa supporting me. I had a few other people that really cared, and we pulled it off. We made it to the Arnolds, and it was a historic moment in the respect that it was the first Arnolds in the UK ever, and I believe I was the first bug wearing Singh or the first turban to go on that stage. Irrespective of me, it was the first time a turban stepped on the Arnold stage here. OG Sidhu Jurawar, he stepped on stage at the Arnolds in Spain a couple of years ago, and there was a aspect of racism there that we can talk about as well. But in terms of the UK, yeah, I was the first bug to get on that stage, which was the reason why I ended up doing it, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to place good enough. There was a lot of, my body wasn't responding, wasn't working with me. You know, it's finding that fine-tuned balance. We mitigated against the circumstances that we had at the time, which is the truth. There's no denying it. There's no hiding it. I'll be completely transparent. I made it work with what we had, and I'm honored. I didn't place. Of course, I didn't place. I came 6th out of 8th in my class. I wasn't as dry and as lean. The ratios weren't right. Room for improvement.
Yeah,
I'm not dead. I'm still breathing. We'll still do what we can if I'm able to next year to push it. I'll still enjoy the training journey and see where it comes and see what life throws at me and where I'm going to be in the world.
100%. But it's still, like, as you said, first turban round Sikh on an Arnold stage is ridiculous. Like,
in the UK, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In the UK. So of course it's that pushing the boundary and keep on obviously getting this like representation, and it sort of comes full circle to what we were speaking about at the beginning, is some people might be ignorant, and that might be what happened in Spain. I'm not too familiar what happened with that competitor.
OG Sidhu, people follow him on social media. He was the British champion UK BFF in men's physique a couple of years ago, 2016.
Right.
Fantastic physique. Another bug wearing Singh, one of the guys that trains at the same gym as me, top guy. Couple of the part of the group of people that we know. So he went and he qualified and he went to the Arnold's, and backstage the judges, again Spanish, they said, take your turban off before you get on stage, and he's like, no, I'm not taking my turban off. So he got on stage, even with his shape and conditioning. They placed him to one side, didn't look at him. Maybe he wasn't big enough, maybe he didn't have the conditioning or the shape that they were looking for, but that was what was said to him backstage. I didn't get that at this competition.
Mm-hmm.
We had head judge Steve Weinberger from the IFBB Pro League as the head judge here. He looked at me and he judged me for my physique and everything else. And so I believe it was fair, which is good. So it's moving in the right direction. And I'm going to continue with whatever I can to help whoever wants to get into this and support them as well. Because it's fun. It's a hobby. It's a lifestyle. It's not my job. It's not my career, but it's something I enjoy.
Hopefully, obviously, going forward, it does help, like with yourself and Mr. Sidhu going on stage with the bugs. It makes it, again, more achievable going forward because it becomes more familiar, less ignorance, etc. And it, hopefully, obviously, we can just get more and more people from all different backgrounds. Not obviously, we have buyers coming from Sikh backgrounds. We want to see and be proud of our own and things, but
there's far less of us as well, if you think about it.
100%.
There's a lot more Arabs. There's a lot more like Muslim background people from the Middle East. Because, like for example, Rami being from Egypt, they've got their first show today.
Mm-hmm.
In Egypt, there's a lot of Egyptian people. There's a lot of Arabs. Dubai is a very big place at the moment where the fitness industry is booming.
Yeah.
Obviously, America's the home of it. Canada's just neighbouring. The UK, we have obviously big British bodybuilders as well. So it's just a matter of the Singh or the Sikh, because of a form of identity for a bug, just specifically the bug as an identifying Sikh, to be able to get on that stage as well. And it is coming without a shadow of a doubt.
100%. It does seem like it as well, because I obviously follow a few pages on Instagram, like as many do, like Sikh Muscle and things like that. And you see, like, you obviously, if you follow that page, all you're going to see is apnea, human fitness, and men, women striving, and unbelievable physiques, unbelievable lifting, strength.
Yeah, really pushing the limits and boundaries. And it's not just because it's the bias to see Sikhs doing it because they're progressing, because they're apnea, or that cultural connection. But it's just nice to see a positive. I follow bodybuilding pages, and I follow apnea bodybuilding pages and people, and it's nice to see apnea that are striving to be better. And it's just bettering yourself, man. Don't be a lazy fatty sitting at home eating crap, man. Think your health is vital. We've got one life. You're not coming back after you die. You can have all the money in the world, but if you're not happy and you're not healthy, what's the point? So live life to the fullest, man. Your health, your body is really important. It's the vessel you're given. Use it, utilize it to its maximum potential.
100%. And I think the past 2 years, a lot of people have waken up to that as well, like with obviously COVID and things, and people obviously passing away due to underlying health issues, and a lot of the attention from mainstream and government hasn't really been for health and physique. But if you do, like, I think a lot of people generally did just take more care and attention of their health and things to counteract that, and hopefully it continues going forward. I think with the Middle East is a lot of them countries are just investing themselves from like the state themselves. From what I understand with like Dubai and things, is that they've invested heavily into fitness to get athletes to move over there, to have the CrossFit Games, for example, there, things like that, which obviously make it a bit easier as well. And in the West, we don't have any problems with that. Maybe in India, I'm not too aware of the situation there, because I know some things are a bit ropey over there in terms of the fitness industry. But again, we won't go into that. But like you said, I echo them things, because sometimes people get caught up on bodybuilding versus powerlifting versus CrossFit, and which one's right, which one's, it's just move.
No, there's nothing right. CrossFit is absolutely amazing. I know people in CrossFit as well. It is a phenomenal sport. It's not a bad sport. Powerlifting is not a bad sport. No aspect of any form of sport or health or fitness or anything to do with moving your body to be a better person is very negative. So if you want to do swimming, for crying out loud, do swimming. There's nothing wrong with that. Every aspect, bodybuilding is just one. having big biceps is just a show, but being healthy is important. CrossFit's phenomenal. Going into fighting, mixed martial arts, MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing, any aspect of it is fantastic. You see the twin stallion brothers that are boxers. It's flipping awesome to see them. You see fighters, you see mixed martial artists, you see people like Indiraj, other power lifters, you see Karanjit Bains, who's Team GP lifting as well, and everyone's putting their bits in. Every aspect of it is phenomenal to see, man.
100%. It's just getting that representation across all walks of life and all sports and all different philosophies. It's just cool to watch. You this morning, we're back in the gym doing cardio, and obviously you have had a recent competition. We were speaking a bit beforehand about rebounding and things, and how long did you take for a break? I've never heard the term rebounding because I've not obviously competed before. What is that?
I'm nobody, nothing special. I'm not smart in this. So I'll explain it in the best way I know how, or as much as of what I know. If I can't help or explain it properly, I'll put you in touch with people that are way smarter than me. But rebounding, so you're on a calorie deficit, you're depleting, you're water loading, water cutting, salt manipulating, changing your protein macros, your fat macros, your carb macros, and your body is under heavy amounts of strain. And then when you're coming out of a show, your body's sort of stomach shrunk, but psychologically you want to eat all the crap under the sun, like me. Burgers, cookies, cakes, you name it, I want it all. And so what you're supposed to do is, okay, yeah, straight after the show, you have your treats, you have a nice meal, and then what you're supposed to do is reverse diet. So let's say your normal diet is 2,500 calories. Coming into a show, you've come down to 1,800, 1,500, 1,300 calories. You're supposed to incrementally build your way up. So week 1, you're still at 1,300, 1,350, 1,400 calories. Week 2, 1,500 calories, and build your way back up. Your metabolism is going to be on fire. You're going to absorb that food. It's going to restore your glycogen stores. You're going to build back out. Rather than doing what I've been doing in the past, and a lot of people have made that mistake, and what I've done in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks as well, is just eat whatever crap. So the first few days, I just ate nonsense. Then I kept my diet, I kept my training in, I kept my cardio in, and I incrementally added, but I was also adding way more calories and eating crap. It was the psychological come down. So it's a lot to do with your psychological state. So when you've got a goal in mind, you're fixed on that goal. You're working towards reaching and achieving something. And when you achieve it, you're at the high. Post show, you've got nothing working towards. So you're lost psychologically. So you give up hope. That's where the discipline comes in. And I was sort of lost. So I tend to go lack of discipline, go for something sweet and add those. So I've now sorted that diet out. I'm on a stabilized diet, and we're rebounding or reverse dieting out correctly. My cardio has to remain because of my body type, and I gain muscle tissue relatively quickly, but I also gain fat very quickly. So I've got to keep a balance on my diet and my training and my cardio, and then reverse it back out into an off season where I'm going to bulk to build more muscle tissue to improve my shoulders, upper chest. And it's that sort of come down into an increase back out, which is very important, rather than hitting the show and then just flipping, jump gear, throw the hammer at it. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what that sort of comes into. And it's giving your body a break mentally. So I went from competing on the 2nd at the Arnold's that weekend, and then on the 14th, on my birthday, I went and started my job. So it was like 10 days between. And in between that time,
fun 10 days,
yeah, very fun 10 days, very fat 10 days. Should we say. Calories were ridiculous. Can't tell my coach that because he's gonna kick my jittery, man. Funga's gonna be pissed. But he knows what I'm like though. So we're sorting it out now anyway. So I've got a few days off now. Back, like I said, cardio's back in. I'll take the dogs for a walk tonight. I'm gonna go to the gym after this. I'm gonna have a pre-workout meal, go to the gym, go gurdwara, go see family and loved ones that actually care. And it's just nice having that little balance for a few days off, and then I'm going to be back in Gatwick training because I'm changing aircraft type. So yesterday, like I said when I was talking to you earlier, I was doing my sim check for the 777-787. So I've done that, so I'm revalidated on my license. Now I'm going to do the type rating, which is every aircraft has to have, you have to be certified on aircraft because the systems, the type of aircraft, the way they are, how they operate is all different. So you have to be certified by law. So I've got to go get my type rating done on the 757, 767. So we'll have 4 aircraft type on my license, hopefully.
Smashed it. No, that's sick, to be fair. And when we're talking about rebounding, I've heard the term reverse dieting, but I've never heard anybody call it rebounding before. So that's why there's probably a bit of confusion there. But I struggle with that myself as well, to be fair. Well, just dieting in general.
It's discipline, and then it's giving yourself a margin, and then keeping yourself accountable. And then it comes down to speaking to someone. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm very lucky. I've got loved ones, a few people that genuinely do care, that are not upro, people that support you. So same thing, I'd give you advice, bro, and anyone else out there, if they want to speak to me, if I'm not good enough to speak to, no problem, I can help you put in the right direction, or find somebody that you trust and help yourself. And then, like, short-term goal for today, we are not going to do X, Y, and Z, or we are going to do X, Y, and Z. And then by the end of the week, the goal is to hit this. So for my goal this week is to make sure I go do my cardio, whether I'm walking the dogs or whether I do cardio on the treadmill at home, or if I do the Stairmaster. My goal is at least 6 days this week, I'm going to hit that. See, daily, my weekly goal there. It's just those little things that help you. And then it's not going to be, oh my God, if I've missed out because of circumstances, of lifestyle changes, if my brother needs me to help him at a job, or if a friend needs me for something else. Because you never know. Some people, bro, everyone's life is dynamic. Something can happen at any moment. You get a phone call, yo, I need you. You can't be like, no, I've got this to do, I'm not coming. You've got to have fluidity in that, Anna.
100%. And yeah, is that, it's exactly that thing that you just said. Yeah, so like that thing of reaching out is obviously really important out in our community. So like I've had a couple of conversations. Bali Chima is a powerlifter, and he's got a mental health like type podcast about where it's literally called Lift Your Life, because all the parallels from mental health to lifting are exactly the same. And it is basically that, but just reach out to people, whether it be for obviously when you are struggling, or whether it be just for advice. It's always going to be someone who's lived it and experienced it, so it's best to talk out and get that experience, like you've just echoed there. Perfect. I think that's a nice note to sort of wrap up on, to be fair, like, because I think we've covered a lot, learned a lot about flying in the air, learned a lot about getting wings on my back. So
That's all, bro. It's all nonsense. Just this is an hour's waste of time, dude. What's this bundle on about?
No, I appreciate it. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say I've really thoroughly appreciated it, and I genuinely have learned a lot. And I can see from when you're talking the passion. And there's a few times where I almost got the rollback Undertaker eyes during the conversation. So I think that's job done. Good by me. Like, so what we'll do is, just at the end, 5 quick questions that I ask every guest, sort of in quick fire fashion. You might have seen them on IGTV or something. So we'll crack on through these. Is the first one is, what are you most proud of?
Oh God. Oh my God. That's a. I know it's supposed to be quick fire, but if I'm going to be honest, I'm trying to go from here. Most proud of what I've learned in my journey. How my eyes have opened to certain things, and that's not just fitness related; it's life related. That's something I'd say I'm most proud of. That understanding of being able to compromise, being able to, not perfect. By any means, I put my hands up and say I'm not perfect. I make a lot of mistakes. I'm human, but the aspect of being able to understand from, and I believe I do understand most of the time, from other people's perceptions and aspects. So I think that's something I'm quite proud of. Not being big-headed. I don't really like answering these questions, dude.
You're not gonna like this one. Is what are you most looking forward to?
Quickly or quick fire, looking forward to getting my life back. Like I said, I lost my job last year, and someone that's been flying for 7 years, forever in motion, always physically in motion, and then being stuck at home, and the highlight being going to Tesco's. I think the aspect of getting back to being an international gym hall, flying, having that balance with fitness, training, gymming, working alongside people like Jazz Gill from Lionheart Faith, doing some work with him, and just other aspects, just having life back where it was about balance, and it was that positive push, waking up in a positive vibe. That's what I'm looking forward to, which is, it's all coming back now. Thanks to God.
Definitely. What's your biggest motivation?
Flipping. In what aspect? In terms of training or in terms of life?
Take it however you want.
biggest motivation I'd say is like achieving something, like having a goal and then achieving it. So I'd put that down. So knowing that, okay, there's a deadline for such things, is like now short-term goal or short-term motivation, passing my type rating, getting to fly. Short-term goal or long-term goal, 6 months off season to improve my physical health or fitness or for training. Sure, motivation as well to work alongside people I'm helping. I'm training and helping couple of people that are talking to me privately about their journeys and helping them. So those are the things, my motivation. It's nice to see some of the guys that I've been working with for the last 6 months, to see their progress and be like, thanks, Raj, you've done this. I was like, bro, I ain't done nothing. I've just shared some dumb little bits of information that I've picked up over the years with you, and I'm glad it's helped. Some people have been in dark places, and that's motivating to see that, yo, they're smiling again. That's the biggest thing, piece of motivation I could say is for me. It's a nice feeling.
100%.
People see people coming out of a hole, even feeling like they're not loved or feeling like they're worthless, and seeing them like realize, yo, there's way more to life than being stuck in the pain that you currently have.
100%. What is your definition of success?
My definition. Success is achieving something that you set out to achieve and overcoming the obstacles that are along the way. So you got your goals or whatever you're trying to achieve. Like, yeah, my goal is to get my GTR to 1,000 horsepower, something stupid. My goal is to breed one of my dogs. I don't know, just anything. And it manifesting. Because that sense of success comes as that form of achievement. Like, yo, we set out to do something, because everyone's goals and forms of success is different. But like, it's like you've set out to do something and you rode it through. So something that my parents, so I've got a tattoo of an elephant on my leg, so I'll just explain what that means to me. My mum and dad used to say when I was studying, I'm not very academic. I was told up until the age of 15, 16, he's not going to study, he's not going to go to university, he's an idiot, he's always causing trouble. I've still got those GCSE reports in the cupboard somewhere. And my dad or my mum used to say, so in the grand scheme of things, you compare an elephant's tail to the size and the vastness of an elephant. It's tiny, innit? Don't quit. Keep going. You got this. That perseverance to achieve your goal, that's the form of success. That's that sense of satisfaction. That is success, I'd say. And whatever it is you choose to do.
Smashed it. And last but not least, because it's the KultureKast podcast, how has your culture affected you in your journey thus far?
My culture's played a big role, I'd say. It's not pride or anything like that, but it's that form of, I'm proud of my identity. Like, I'm a Sikh, I won't cut my hair. Yeah, okay, I trim my beard. I shave body hair because of competing, only for competing. But I identify as a Sikh. I identify as an Punjabi with that background. And that has molded me in the way I think. And my culture is a very big part of who I am. Like, you'll see me bobbing my head to Bhangra music, man. We're Bhangra head through and through with a little bit of hip hop thrown in. So True School is right up there.
Definitely. Smashed it, man. I really appreciate your time again. And I will leave
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you bloody bringing me on, bro. The amount of the caliber of people you have on your show, and you calling someone like me, I'm truly honored and humbled, man, to be even considered. So, bro, I really appreciate it. Thank you, man.
I'm just talking to people who interest me, and you interest me. Yeah, you're a pilot and a bodybuilder, and you
stupid monkey,
it.
Man.
No. Are you mainly on Instagram? Is that your main source of social media? People want to follow you?
Yeah, Instagram. I might not be on it for a little while, but yeah, Instagram's there. Or if you can get hold, even if you need to talk to me about something, you can pick up my number on there, or Facebook, Rajay Singh, or Instagram's the Flying Turban. Yeah. But if you want to get hold of me for a personal reason, if I can help you with anything, yeah, shout on that. Or yeah, I don't really use anything else.
I think most people are Instagram nowadays, so it's just easier, isn't it? Yeah, smashed it. People can go follow the Flying Turban on Instagram. And yeah, do you want to say any last words before we finish up?
No.
No, yeah, so I'll catch everybody in the next episode then.